Well, everybody, welcome to Beers with Bill. We welcome Troy, who, like I
Hello.
said in my note, wanted a very basic, simple introduction and bio. And so, Troy, take it away.
I'm the former owner of Kickoff, where this obviously originated from, and Bill asked me to come on and go through a bunch of questions on his show, and I think this is gonna be an amazing night.
So we're starting with the Pilsner.
Yes.
Well, why particularly a Laura Pilsner?
I like how crisp it is. I like Pilsners altogether, just as it is, and I wanted to go with a local one, and this one's pretty good. I like it. I mean, for a local spot.
They've nailed it for the style.
Yeah, it's got that crisp, just slight hop. Yeah,
That absolute original Pilsner style.
yeah,
Summer beer, crisp, slightly hoppy.
yeah. Really refreshing. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Tom's cat's visiting him. Have one of those moments. So Troy,
Yes.
I'm going to start with Jackie's question.
Okay.
Simple and easy. She wants to know, because now it doesn't matter if you answer it, who your best employee was, whether it was Matthew or Tomas.
Well, between the two of them, it's a coin flip for second place. You were the best employee I ever had. You were actually the heartbeat of Kickoff, honestly, Bill, and thank you for being there.
Oh, thank you, because that was a better part of my life, 20 years.
20 years, yeah. It's very
20 years, so, but thank you. But she had to ask that, and with an
course.
absolute straight face, she looked at me and she says, "You are not on the list." And then before Terry gets a chance to ask that, COVID's over with. Are you
Yes.
going to reopen Kickoff?
No.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wouldn't want to be in the restaurant beer industry for the next 5 years. I just think there's so much uncertainty. You won't know what you're doing. I think there'll be people that will learn the system of what's successful quickly. I don't want to invest the time in to do that.
I like that. Bill's fishing for compliments already. Thanks, David. Well, then that leads me to my next question, because even Graham Spence last week alluded to the fact that the restaurant bar trade is going to be really problematic for a couple of years.
Yeah.
How do you see things happening over the next 12, 24 months?
There's going to be a lot of heartache this winter. It all really it depends on how the Ontario government loosens up the liquor laws of what they can do, basically outside, or if they loosen up the amount of people inside. Either or, if it just stays what it is, it's going to hurt a lot of businesses. They can't. The numbers don't make sense at 50% capacity. The way rent is structured now, the pricing of beer, the price of employment, all the utilities, 50% capacity doesn't make sense.
No. You would have to be running 24/7, and you would have to be at 50% the full time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's not a realistic expectation.
Yeah. And obviously, some restaurants are really nailing it with the takeout, but the bar scene, no.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. There's a new takeoff in the restaurant in Toronto where they actually have, it's almost a throwback to the 1930s, where you could walk into basically a foodomat and get your food out of a drawer. Whereas this one, it's you place your order online.
Yeah.
pay for it. They send you a message that it's going to be ready in like 5 minutes. And when you walk in the door, your name appears on a box and you open it up and you take your food and leave.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So,
Well, I mean, certain things, people ignoring certain directives, the speakeasy probably will come back, especially in Toronto. Like, it really will, I think.
that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Reintroducing the speakeasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the other one, similar to, I thought they should have really loosened up the public liquor laws, i.e. enjoying a beer in like Waterloo Park. That should have just been directive right from the Ontario government, but they didn't do that. But the loosening up they did, I don't think those genies can go back in the bottle now.
Yeah, right. It's going to be hard to put that back.
Yeah, yeah,
the way it
because
was.
obviously everybody that's all the new patio, you know, what they're able to do with it. There's been no police calls, you know, mass disturbances, nothing. I mean, just people enjoying beer.
So, Terry and Alex, how about an adult birthday party, like a sleepover at kickoff?
No.
Yeah, that brought to mind the day that you and I were talking about the patio, and I had everything all lined up, guys to come and build it, and Steve
Yep.
at Interbrew was going to do it, and we're standing there in the window and we're talking, and the car pulls into the parking spot. The guy gets out and he throws the can of pop at the guy on the bike. You just looked at me and you said, "Not happening."
No, yeah, just love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be interesting what happens in that plaza too. There's a lot of restaurants and not as much traffic, but I see some takeout going out of there, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Shock. Enlighten us, because we're not in Toronto. How bad is it with patios?
It's really, really bad. Like they can have 6 people per table, so they don't have chairs, they have benches, like the ones in kindergarten or whatever. So you can just, with friends, pack like 8 people on. No one's policing you. It's just very haphazard. There's rules, but no one to enforce the rules, and that's what's leading to all of this. If you walked down this weekend, down King Street, you wouldn't know that we're in a pandemic.
No, that many people out, huh?
Yeah. Terry and Emma, they're asking about the rent. Do you think the landlords have any way that they can help bars and restaurants?
Well, there's the initial rent relief from the federal government. From people I talked to, none of the landlords were actually looking at really doing it. So
Yeah. Yeah. And what you were looking at was prorated. You
yes,
don't have to pay rent, but the minute you open, it's going to be tacked on to whatever's left on your lease.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a steep slope for anyone to overcome.
Yeah.
Aren't they
I mean,
looking,
yeah, there people work out somewhat deals, but they want their cash.
Oh,
I get it, but aren't they looking at empty storefronts then?
There's always someone willing to take a crack. Like I was telling Bill, the beauty supply store that was just a few down from me is now a weed shop.
Yeah.
So just
and what a perfect location for it.
really, yeah.
Yeah. Right by the university, you got a walk-in crowd, you got a parking area for people to come into.
So the other thing too with the COVID is the uncertainty. What if everything got shut down now again, and you're locked into the same deal? It could be 4 or 5 months, and it could just be a roller coaster, and no one can give anybody answers. So,
Well,
be interesting. That's why when I say I wouldn't want to be in this industry for the next 5 years, that's why.
it's definitely going to be a roller coaster for a few years,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
because there's no smart money's betting this is going to run 3.5 years because that's the normal sequence for a virus.
Yep, worldwide.
And you're right. That puts us 5 years out before any stability whatsoever.
It'll be interesting. I'll say next spring. I think there'll be a lot of people with the little bit of experience going through this summer. We'll have some things really nailed down for next summer, like outdoor, possibly like some smaller festivals, knowing how to operate that.
Yeah.
Or they should, at least.
Well, we should have a better handle on how to be able to do those kinds of things from that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I haven't checked online, but I noticed that when I was driving through Simcoe last night on my way home, they actually had a sign up for the Simcoe Fair.
Oh, yeah?
Sort of the largest country fair in Ontario. And but I haven't checked and follow up to see if they're actually going to have it on.
But yeah, Andrea told me they just canceled something today. The Toronto Christmas market was officially canceled today.
Yeah, I could see.
Yeah. Well,
that was a big crowd draw for that part, the distillery area.
Yeah.
People look forward to it.
It's a fun time.
Yeah. I know they did announce that they weren't going to be doing the Santa Claus parade.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Mike says we should have Troy Fest next summer. I take it you're volunteering to head it up, eh, Mike? Yeah.
Waterloo Park, just take it over.
Oh, with social distancing, that's probably what you would need.
Yep.
Yep.
Everybody in a hula hoop.
Well, I was in Stratford, and the one yoga company has booked part of the Stratford Park, and they had 6-foot circles all out through it there.
Yeah.
So that people knew exactly where to be, and people adhere to it. I guess that it's working for them. But again, now that we move into winter, what's going to happen?
Yes.
So now that there's no kickoff, what does a normal day for Troy look like?
Oh, I get up in the morning, I usually lay in bed, do a little bit of meditation. I get up, have a coffee, do a little YouTube yoga, and then I'll go work out. I'm working out at a gym now again.
Yep.
And each Sunday I make a list of things to get done around the house, and I try and check off a few of those each day. And then I cook supper.
Okay.
Yep.
What are you reading these days?
The Wayfinders, actually. It's a book from about 2010. It was a series done on the CBC, and it was all about disappearing indigenous tribes and their languages and their wisdoms and stuff.
Okay. And at the beginning of COVID, because I know that going to the gym every day was like that routine. What were you doing to stay active?
Similar. I was doing a lot of just more body weight stuff at home and just running from home and bicycling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thomas says
what?
So no, go ahead.
And now I just branched out because more things are opening. I'm back to the gym. I usually rock climb once a month with Fallon, and I try and obviously get out hiking, which I love to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I saw that you did a fantastic hike this summer.
Yep. Yeah.
Which would lead me to my next question. You did the Pacific West Coast Trail.
Yep.
What was the motivation on that?
So I've always wanted to do a long distance trail, and if you read the literature, the people that do those really long ones in the States, they take about 6 months, and it's people that have either just gotten out of university or people have just retired because they've got the time to burn. Anyways, this friend of mine that I hike with sent me this one, and it started July 1st because of the snow load in the mountains. and it took about 2 months. So that's July, August, slowest times of the year at the bar. And I did it at the odd number year. So there was no Euro Cup or World Cup in the summer. And it just made sense. So I got to go do what I wanted to do, and it was pretty good. It was a great time.
So what was that like for you to be out there?
Honestly, you struggle at the first few days because you're wondering if you can really do it, and then it gets into I don't want to say like a job, but you get into a real routine. I was up at 5:30 every morning when the sun came up. I don't think I saw the stars more than 3 days because 8 o'clock I was going to sleep, and you're just walking along, seeing all this great views, and every once in a while you got really challenged because it wasn't just a straight trail. You had to use your mind. And then once in a while you got into a trail town and had a few beers and some pizza. But I met incredible people along the way, just fantastic people. And I would recommend it to anybody.
Now, I did part of the Appalachian Trail, and one of the guys I talked to who was doing the whole thing said that the hardest part is that mental discipline to keep going.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. The interesting one with me is that trail is usually somewhat wet, and the year I did it, Seattle set a 55-day straight record for no rain. So I think I got rained on 3 days in 2 months. And then the thing that was on the reverse of that, there was all kinds of wildfires, forest fires in BC, and so there was a lot of smoke. So the breathing wasn't great when you were up high.
What was the most memorable part of that trip?
The bookends, honestly. Like you start in Glacier National Park in Montana, and it is just spectacular. And then you end in Olympic National Park, which is equally as beautiful on the coast, with still a lot of mountains. Yeah.
Now, I remember you remarking on the clam bake
Yes.
when you took the ferry across to finish off the trail.
Yeah. So there was a couple there, and trail angels. So you can go in there, spend the night in their yard, and you can use the shower, do some laundry. And I basically walked in, and it was nothing but clams and crab. And they're like, "Want to sit down?" I'm like, "Whoa, man! I'm from the Maritimes. Of course I want to sit down." And just, I mean, at that point, you could destroy an all-you-can-eat buffet. So I was just hammering the stuff back, and it was fantastic.
That's great. You did, by my calculation, roughly 40K a day.
Yes, I had to average that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was not straight line either, was it?
No, you go over about 7 mountain ranges. So most people know the Pacific Crest Trail, the one from the movie Wild and all that.
Yeah.
So it is 2,650 miles, and the Pacific Northwest Trail is 1,200 miles, so under half.
Yeah.
They both have the same elevation loss and gain. So
Wow.
you go up and down a lot of times.
Yeah. So you were doing 40K straight line. That would translate into what?
Oh, you're probably getting up to about 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers. Yeah.
And consistently every day.
Yeah, there's not a lot of flat spots.
Wow. Yeah. What's the next big one you're going to do?
Well, all depends if they open the borders or not.
Assuming they open the borders.
Yeah, the one I'd really like in the States, I'd like to do the Colorado Trail. It's about 5 weeks. If they didn't open it, I potentially would go out and do the Great Divide Trail, which is about 800 kilometers in Alberta. And then I would love to do the Camino at some point. But Spain's not going to open up.
Which part of the Camino?
So there's the standard. It's called the North Route out of France.
Yeah.
It's a bit more challenging and a bit more I don't want to say rustic, but
So that's more the coastal trail, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, the one that I was looking at.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot more problematic.
Yes, yeah, you don't have all the bailout points or whatever.
Yeah, you've got to do 40K a day,
Yep.
or you're not getting a place to stop.
Or you're camping on the trail. Yeah.
Okay. We'll get back to kickoff because I have a question for you.
Sure.
What was the most epic fail that you remember? Now, I outlined 3 to you this morning.
Yes, you did. They were all pretty good.
Yeah.
It would be the time I came back from vacation to an email that the liquor inspector had been in, and there was 3 times the amount of people that were supposed to be in there, and I had to call them.
Okay.
That one, the more the epic fail was the amount of time I had to spend in the courtroom. It was really frustrating because, I basically went in, negotiated, hung my head, said, I'm not going to fight anything. And I still spent months and months in the courtroom just going through the whole system. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the fire inspector not showing up, and you couldn't just plead guilty because he wasn't there.
Yeah. But you have to sit there for 2 hours to go through it.
Yeah. So for the rest of you, the 3 I sort of outlined for him in the morning was the day I forgot to shut the fryer off, and Troy came into a bar full of black smoke because the high limit switch was broken, and I had boiled all the oil out of the fryer. And the other one was Matt, one day when he was closing up, went outside, had a cigarette with his friends, ran the garbage over to the garbage can, and went home without locking the door or setting the alarm. So. And then the day that Tomas and I got busted for 114 people in the bar on a pub crawl, which was quite the experience.
Live and learn.
Absolutely. I remember that you called me up and kind of laughed about it and asked me what had gone on. And it's like, oh, well, we got away with it for a long time, and I guess we're done now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we never really did that again.
No. Well, they'd be watching us.
Yeah.
Who's the most memorable character on a kickoff?
I thought about this afternoon, and hand down, it's got to be Donnie.
Yeah.
He was always there, just the whole time. That's similar to you. He was before me.
Well, he was before me too. Like
Yeah.
he was there. He was there from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the. Yeah, Katie's saying she just saw Donnie in front of Central the other day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen Donnie since. So I've seen pictures of him, but.
Yeah. Apparently, you can catch him on McCabe's once in a while.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
Yeah. And of course, Graham can make mention of George because we don't have to worry about George knocking on either of our doors, hopefully.
Those were some fantastic events, though. That was like Shakespearean with George.
Yeah.
We've said his name. He might show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever Cooper asked about George, he would show up.
He would.
Yeah. So.
Gangster.
Oh yeah, that time you called me and I was on vacation and he had showed up. That was just priceless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite microbrew right now?
My favorite microbrewery right now?
Yeah.
I can't commit to just one. I've really enjoyed going down to Rob's at Shortfinger because we bike down here.
Yeah.
Some great beers.
Yeah.
And then I'll just give him this slight edge. But I've really enjoyed going to a lot of different places this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some fantastic beer being made in Ontario.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, outside of KW, where have you been for beer?
So I stopped into a fantastic little brew pub up in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm not clicking right now. Ed would know.
Outspoken Brewing.
Yeah, Outspoken.
Right
Fantastic.
on
little spot.
Queen Street. Nice
Yeah,
tap though too.
and then I was at the other one, Lake Superior. They were all right, but Outspoken was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, the Northern Superior is sort of a throwback. There used to be Doran's Superior Brewing. They all went bust.
Yeah.
They've sort of revived some of the name. They're doing some okay stuff, but nothing like the historic brewery was. But Outspoken has some really nice beer.
Yeah. And then I was up in Manitoulin, Manitoulin Brewing and Split Rail. They're all right. Obviously, we used to sell Manitoulin.
Yeah.
We were at their spots. Then I said, I'm just at this new place down in Cambridge where they used to have the outlet malls in.
Yeah.
It's called Factory Brewing. They've made a whole complex in there. They've completely rebuilt that place. And we've also hit, where did we just hit on another one out. Where was that at? Oh, sorry. I was actually at Flying Monkeys on my way up too. I really liked their little spot in Barrie. That was what I was thinking of.
Okay. And
I did notice they're not open yet, but there's a new brewery in Conestoga called the Crow's Foot or something like that. And it's where the Black Forest Inn used to be.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not open yet. That's
So that'll be interesting to see what they do there.
It's going to be, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Anybody taking on that kind of a challenge right now,
Yeah.
especially
Well,
moving into winter.
I thought they were. I think they were planning like an April opening or something. And yeah, it just obviously didn't happen.
Yeah. Just checking to make sure I haven't missed something. Restaurants. Anything new and exciting happening that you've seen in the last 6 months?
No, I don't. I've been trying just some of the old haunts that I liked. I still get some Kismet, which I like, or Ken Sushi, close to there. Lancaster, and I'm trying to think. We were out to just recently. Where was that at? Oh, just out to White Rabbit. They've got their little backspace, but yeah, we've been doing with our neighborhood.
Yeah.
We do a whole bunch of takeouts between families. One family goes get it and brings it back for everybody. So we've been just doing the average things that we used to do.
It makes sense.
Yep.
That makes perfect sense. If you could travel back in time, Troy, what advice would you give your younger self just as you were taking over kickoff?
Okay, yeah. I thought about two things. For me personally, would have been more in the Stoic philosophy model was just don't worry about the things you can't control. It'll just drive you crazy and it's just not worth it. And that would have been good advice to me. And don't get upset about it. And then the other, just on the business, I think I should have really kept up on what was trending and how the industry was changing. And I don't think I did that enough. I kind of just sat in the bubble that basically things that I liked, just to watch sports, drink craft beer, and, you know, my personal preferences instead of looking at what was really going on in the rest of the industry.
We had a great run.
Oh, yeah.
Had a great run. I will do this for everybody. I had a conversation with Troy once about making a major change. And I'm going to tell you, this is exactly what happened. It's my bar. And my response to that was, "You're absolutely right," and I walked away
I should have
because
said it's my couch.
yeah, that's. But we had a great working relationship.
Yes, we did.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, you know, we well, even with Tomas and Matthew, we all had our moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Don Fraser, what are you going to do if Troy ever gets mad at you? And I said, let me show you Troy mad at me. Troy sitting at the corner of the bar. Hey, that was the day I tried to burn the bar down. I mean, that was all you said.
Yeah.
Hey, you left the fryer on last night. Don't do that again. The food menu.
Okay.
Chirag, enlighten me.
Well, I was just taking guesses at what was the major change that you were proposing.
Oh, no, I was, I actually wanted to start going out and bringing beer in from other microbrews. Just going out on my Saturday off or the Saturday that I worked and picking up a couple of kegs from a new micro. But I understood where it's coming from. Like we had 60 some odd people that we were buying beer from.
Yeah, that's it is quite incredible. It's I'll say this, even with a face mask, being out on some patios, I got recognized in a few places that I didn't think I'd be recognized at. I was way out. I was surprised.
Tell me about the Juicy Ass. That was the second one we were going to do tonight.
Okay, I'm just gonna run and get a glass for this one. I didn't bring over another one, so. So I like IPAs. I really like this one. And when you ask for, brewery suggestions, I kind of wanted to work in a Flying Monkeys because they really were probably the first like non-big brewery we brought in, and they were actually Robert Simpson at the time. I remember it was a young lady, rep came in, gave her a chance. I can't even remember her name. She did live in Lucknow up by Lake Huron. I remember that. But this beer, I really like. I mean, obviously the Flying Monkeys, they started going way with the Smash Bomb and all that, but they do make some good IPAs, and I really like this one just for the full body of it.
Yeah. Talking about Smash Bomb, 12 Minutes to Destiny.
Yeah. What was that one that we only had in the bottles? It was like a 15%er or something, and we always would sell out of it. And I don't think they really made it too much, probably because it wasn't affordable to make.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah,
I remember we bought the
had a
last
funky
12 cases.
Yeah. But yeah, they really, I think with like the Juicy Ass, they learned that they had to come back down a bit to make a really good IPA.
Yeah. There's all kinds of, like everyone did that. They tried to out IPA each other and then suddenly realized that really need to bring that back to.
But you can still keep it like at a 6% or whatever. And yeah.
See, Derek's drinking his final can of Smash Bomb.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then there was all kinds of, just like I said, it was Robert Simpson, and then obviously they got new management, and they changed the name, went with the funky labels, and then all of a sudden they're getting free press because they're not being allowed in the LCBO because of the signage, and that's great. I mean,
yeah. So we used to have a lot of Belgians on tap. What went on there?
A lot of what, sorry?
Belgian beers on tap. We had, Pink Elephant for a while, Delirium.
Yeah, honestly, it came down to no, it was great beer to serve, but it was, I guess the appearance at ours was giving more full pints instead of like 12-ounce pints, and it wasn't anybody going to pay for the full price of like a half-liter Belgian, and yeah, it was really just cost and appearance of what we sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet now, like Rob, 12-ounce beers.
Yeah.
And
Well, that gets back to me. That gets back to me saying I should have really followed the trends more, like instead of being stuck in my narrow, view of things.
I don't know. You didn't have a really narrow beer view.
No,
there was a point. There was 120 different beers in that cooler.
Yeah.
And that was the guys from Rim trying to drink it dry one night.
Yes.
We're gonna drink every beer that's there, and but before Beer Town, we had the most craft beers on tap.
Yes.
And the biggest selection in the cooler.
Yeah. And people wouldn't have thought of that, actually.
Yeah. So yes, maybe we should have followed the trends more, but you were also setting a trend at one point.
I guess, yeah.
The first ones to bring Mill Street out of Toronto.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were his first account out of the GTA.
Wow. Well, if I went back to it, we've been the first for quite a few breweries, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. We were the second for Block 3.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad.
Yeah. No. Well, he had
Block 3, they're fantastic. I really like those guys.
Yeah. Graham had a deal with Bent Elbow.
Oh yeah. Down with Harold. Yeah.
Yeah. He had with Harold first, and he had to honor that before he could give us beer.
Okay.
So.
No, I would say, yeah, there was several. I mean, and the interesting one was several small breweries. They're still operating. They came into our sphere, and then they realized they were overextending, and then would have to pull away. One like that was Silversmith. We were selling them, and they basically came and said, we're not going to travel because we're only brewing enough for in the Niagara region right now, and for their beer store sales.
Yeah.
And they pulled away, and then they came back afterwards. That was an interesting one. So
yeah. Derek wants to know about Mythos.
Mythos.
Yeah, because him and Lionel used to drink it dry whenever we had it in.
Yeah. I think that was one of those cases. If you could get it on the beer store order, you had to dust the bottles off because it'd been sitting around for a while. So. I'm sure all the Mythos was basically earmarked to all the Greek restaurants in Toronto.
It was always real fresh too. We just bought it for each other as a prank, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you a beer, and you try and get him one before he buys you one.
One of those bad green bottle beers.
You stopped getting it, so we always wondered what happened.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, it was just hard to get.
Yeah, I think they delisted it at one point.
Yeah, honestly, I think they still bring it. I think they still bring it in, but I think it's basically just for like the Toronto Greek restaurants. So, same as I believe you can still get like Kingfisher at some Indian restaurants, but you don't see it.
Yeah, because that was another one we used to get in.
We used to have, Kingfisher, and yeah.
Got to go to the philosophical question because I'm not going to open up my phone again.
Okay.
What would you like all of us to take away from the chat tonight?
Just obviously, this is all people we know, that there was a great community. You can keep it going with everywhere else, and just like live your life. It's fantastic.
Katie says a thank you.
Oh,
We did the 1664 Blanc and Fruity blend for her.
oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
They actually have a fruit beer themselves, though. Like, I think you can get the beer store now. It's like it's just a Blanc Rouge, I believe they call it. It's like a 4.5% wheat beer, but probably not as good as a Fruity.
No, but I do remember making that for her on numerous occasions.
Or Don's 2 Bud Lights in a Hoegaarden glass.
Yes, Don's 2 Bud Light in a Hoegaarden glass.
There was all kinds of bastardizations we did.
Yeah. Do you remember you and Tomas going to Toronto FC's first game?
Yeah, and it poured rain on us.
It poured rain on you. You
Yeah.
guys were actually front and center on the big screen at one
We
point
were.
just before the game.
Yeah, because we had the center. We were right on the 50. Well, it would be the 50-yard line. We were on the center line. Yeah, and we had drank quite a bit before getting there, and it just poured rain. And there was no cover at that point. You just got soaked. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the next day. I actually came in at 1 o'clock because I knew Tomas would just be in horrid shape. And his first words were, "But what about Troy? Like, I'm going to go home." And I said, "Troy's never going to know you weren't here."
Oh yeah. I honestly, I think one of the more screwed up ones was Andrea was gone, and it was Thanksgiving weekend. I went to Oktoberfest with a bunch of guys, and I just had to get out of the tent because I had drank so much. And I got a cab, and instead of going home, I came back up to kickoff because, I got some fresh air. I could have one more. I showed up, the place was packed, and Matt was working, and he put me to work for 3 hours in the kitchen, and I was hammered. He was just like sweating back there, and he was like going like this to me, and I was like feeding me beer. Oh yeah, the next morning was bad. Yeah. I don't even know what Matt's doing. Do you?
I have lost track of him. I know he finished his PhD.
Yeah, I did know that too.
And he was teaching, but I don't know if he's still teaching.
Yeah.
Chirag has a question, and it's an important one. What's the history of Troy buying KO? Can you talk about what prompted you to buy the bar?
So I always wanted to run a bar, but had no clue. And then I was going to kickoff, talking to Bill. I used to drink. I used to work out or do something, and I'd have a couple pints of Boddingtons afterwards.
Yep. We talk sports.
Yeah, and then I got to know John and Argy, and I was there for a Super Bowl and I'm watching it. Obviously, had a few too many. I'd walked over from home, and John drove me home after the Super Bowl, and he said, the bar's for sale if you want. Anyways, that kicked off like 6 months of negotiation. Then I ended up buying it, and I bought it, and I went on vacation, and John worked for me for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was in August 2002.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on that, I think the last time I saw any of their family was his daughter. I'm trying to remember her name. And she was in the bar probably 10 years ago, back visiting friends. And I have not heard from John or RG probably in about 12 years.
Yeah. It could be. Well, they kind of fell off the face of the earth once Panda passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, no.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
You should put this stuff on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of YouTube.
Mr.
It
Hussey?
is. It is on YouTube. What are we talking about?
Where are you on YouTube?
Yeah, it's called Kickoff Annex. I'll send you the link, Troy. Come on, get out of here. Subscribe. Subscribe. It really helps us
I
out,
actually
guys.
will. No, I will. I didn't know it was on YouTube. I thought you were just on your website. Sorry.
No.
Wait, you're putting this on the internet? Don't do
Hell yeah.
Guys, honestly, I know everybody's laughing. I was actually even get on Zoom, so don't worry. I mean,
We're gonna be famous in Japan or something, right? Someone will find us.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. I'll be watching them tomorrow then.
Yeah. Talk to me about Burst, Great Lakes Burst.
Okay, let me go grab another glass. I'm really not prepared for this.
Mike messed up, so we don't have the last beer, but we'll be there in spirit.
Actually, the funny
Mike.
thing is, I bought these last week after I told Bill, and Andrew says, there's going to be 3 beers sitting in the fridge for a full week. I said, yeah. I had to go back and get one of the Pilsners. Anyways.
My microphone's on.
Oh, my God. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. So, Great Lakes. As I said, I really like the IPAs. And I really like Great Lakes. I mean, they've done some fantastic stuff. We had a great working relationship with them. And this one, I did it more because it's something I really just recently got into. I mean, Octopus Wants to Fight, you know, just Crazy Canuck, just a solid beer. But this one, I've really enjoyed in the last few weeks. So that's why I put it in. It's really good flavor. It's not as like it's not as punchy either.
No. Great Lakes is, as I've been finding in my conversation with a few different people, pretty instrumental in the reason that we've got such a thriving craft beer industry. A lot of the guys worked at Great Lakes for a while.
Yeah, I think, is it 25 years they just celebrated in the last few years. So
Yep.
They've been around for a while, really built up well.
Derek wants to know if we had a favorite brewery to deal with.
I think over the years, I mean, recently, obviously, Block 3 and Robert Shortfinger, but obviously, Greg at Wellington, we did a lot of promos with him. Really, we had some fantastic times with them. And then,
Keith at Bowes.
what's that?
Keith at
Keith at
Bowes.
Bowes, yeah, we did a lot of stuff with Keith, yeah, it's fantastic. And then, obviously not a brewery, but Mike at Premier Brands, and that was
Yep.
more on the import side. We had a great working relationship with him.
And in the past, what's his name? The Alberta Brewery. Bruda, sorry, his mind's gone.
Big
Big Rock. Big Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big guy. What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yep.
was great. And honestly, when I first started, I believe his last name was McGilvery, and he was the
Steve.
he was the Labatt rep, and because we did barrels of Keiths back then, like
Yep.
weekly we did big barrels of Keiths.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it switched over through the years, and obviously when we switched more to doing local microbreweries, the bigger stuff fell off. But yeah, there's some fantastic. You know what? I really only got, I think, pissed off at 1 or 2. I mean, Diageo would have been one of them, so that's Guinness.
Yeah. Well, that obviously, after having such a run with Guinness and then him going around and getting Molly's and the Grad House, and then going and getting Passage Joint down the street from us. You know, why would you have any liking for them?
Oh, but I mean, they're chasing volume, right? So
Yeah. Troy and I did have a disagreement
yeah, it's
when
interesting.
we got away from Mill Street.
Oh,
just a little.
What was the disagreement?
Really wasn't a disagreement. We had a long conversation about the fact that they had pulled all of our marketing money from us and gave it to Molly's,
Yeah,
and then started advertising Molly's at both universities.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
I
had-
don't think that lasted long though.
Well, we were selling more per seat than the whole Molly's chain when they did that to us.
Yeah, but same thing. They're just chasing bigger.
Yeah, they were
things.
chasing volume.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't think that lasted long though.
well, that lasted 6 months for them, and then Molly's booted them out because it wasn't selling well enough.
Yeah, yeah. And it's obviously the stuff we were selling wasn't a cheaper keg, so.
Yeah. Well, they were doing $9 pitchers at the.
Yeah, I don't know how Molly's will do. I was talking to Brian like back in May and June. Obviously, he was suffering hard. I mean,
Yeah.
and he was hustling. I mean, he was doing a lot of things. So we'll see what happens for him. So.
Eric's wondering about our top-selling beer over the years. Keats.
Keith's originally was massive. And then as it transitioned out, there was a lot of cider at one point, a lot of Blackthorn cider.
Yeah.
That was Rob and Andy. No last names. They were smashing back a lot. I was actually almost to a two keg cider at that point. And then towards the end, I wouldn't say there was. We were just rotating so much that there was never a top beer. And there was actually never a top. They would go in cycles even out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Like we used to sell a ton of Heineken and probably hardly anything. And like we went from 2 barrels of Keith's when we first started, and we were blowing dust off the Keith's bottle, taking them out at the end.
Mike, I love that comment about being from Nova Scotia and not liking Keats.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's Keith's is really just almost a lagered ale. I mean, it's not an IPA, and
Oh,
it is what it is.
Terry and Alex got it right. Stella, Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see, even though now I go, because we always got asked, Rickards Reds doesn't even seem to have a presence anymore either.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the ones. Someone orders a Rickard Reds or a Coors or something. It's like, you've never been in our bar. I'll just check your ID right now.
So Chirag's got the question that I left for last.
Yep.
What's next for Troy?
You sound
I
like my
loved your
wife.
answer this morning.
That's exactly. She asks me all the time. I have no plans. I really don't want to start another career, but I'd like to do something. But I guess I'm still a bit lost, and I need to actually sort that over the winter because I don't do being bored well. I'm not a good person to be around when I'm bored, and my wife will attest to that. So I'm not sure. We'll see. Is there any suggestions what I should do?
You could take over doing what I do.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Travel videos. Go places, make videos, promote them, get people to pay for your trips.
Oh, okay. My daughter thinks I should become a Zamboni driver, but
That would be an interesting career change.
I could make a Zamboni YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Is it drinking and driving on a Zamboni?
Yeah, you almost want to be blacked out so they don't really see your face.
Jackie's always believed that they should have Zamboni girls, skaters skating behind the Zamboni
Oh,
figure
honestly,
skaters.
I mean, it's been a while. I went to a Tampa Bay Lightning game, and when they did the Zamboni, they had ladies out with the short skirts with golden shovels,
Yep.
getting the snow. Oh yeah, no, that exists.
I like the idea of a Zamboni driver that can drive the Zamboni but can't drive home. Like,
One of the rinks at home in the Sioux, one New Year's, the Zamboni driver took the Zamboni home, and he got fired for it. He came back a few years later as the rink manager, though.
That's actually hilarious.
Anyways, Troy, thank you for being on.
Oh,
I think
this is great.
This is we've all had an opportunity now to see what's happening for you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you taking time to talk to us. I'm gonna shut off the recording now and open it up for people to just have a conversation with